Hi guys, this is the video lesson on calculating the time taken for an object to travel a certain distance at a certain speed. We've got a couple of speed calculations here in the starter, so please complete those and then come back on for the answers. Right, we saw in last lesson that to calculate the speed of an object, generally a vehicle or a person, we do distance travelled divided by the time it takes to travel that distance. So in this case, our distance is 200 miles. We've got to divide that by 4, and we end up with then 50 miles per hour. And we do have to be careful with the units. We have to use the 2 units that are given to us in the question. So distance per time. Now, question 2, to calculate using the yellow-purple questions, we need to do the same calculations. So it's the distance divided by the time, but we have to first change the time into decimal hours. Okay, so for this one it's decimal hours because we want to try and get our calculations or our units in miles per hour. So this gives me 3.8, the 3 hours and 48 minutes. So I've got to divide 250 by 3.8. Okay, now that gives me a big long decimal. I'll just round that to 1 decimal place, so 65.8. And that's miles per hour. Okay. Right, moving on then to our calculating time questions. Again, we can use this triangle that's on the right hand side. And in order to calculate time, we need to know the distance and we need to know the speed. So we can get this formula from the triangle as well, cover up the distance, and we are given, cover up the speed, sorry, and we are given distance over speed. Okay, so we cover up the time, that's what we want to find, and we're given distance over speed. Now we know that distance over speed is the same as distance divided by speed, which is why it's written like that in the formula on the right hand side. So to calculate the time then, I am told that the boat covers 40 kilometres, that's my distance, divided by the speed, which is 10 kilometres per hour. So that's divided by 10. Therefore, the time has to be 4 hours. Now, when doing these calculations, just like when doing distance, we have to make sure that our units match up. So, km for kilometres and kilometres per hour. So we've got to match those up. The time units come from the speed units. So it's kilometres per hour. Therefore, our times in hours, and our distance is in kilometres. 2 questions of these to try. So have we go of them. You can pause the video and come back on for the answers, or you can simply watch the answers and then you'll be able to see how to get the questions done. So in part A, the distance is 120 miles and the speed is 40 miles per hour. So 120 divided by the 40 leaves me with 3. And it's going to be 3 hours. Again, the hours here coming from the speed units and the m and miles matching up to be the same for the distance units. Next question, distance divided by speed again. So it's 240 metres divided by 6 metres per second. So m and metres, okay, are matched up there, which means I know I can just use these 2 numbers. 240 divided by 6 is 40, and the units this time for time are inside the units for speed, and it's got to be seconds. So S is seconds. Okay. Lastly, what we may have to do with these questions, and this only applies to yellow and purple questions, is when you get to the end of your answer, you might have a decimal number of hours or a decimal number of seconds. You want to change that back into minutes or back into hours and minutes. Okay, so The first step is still the same, distance divided by time. So in this case, the distance is 100, the time, distance divided by speed, sorry, not time. The speed is 40. So if we calculate what 100 divided by 40 is, we get an answer of 2.5. Now our time is in hours, that's 2.5 hours. What you will be asked to do at purple level and yellow level is to change this into hours and minutes. The way that we do that, we looked at last week, so 2 hours, that's our whole 2 hours, and then we take the 0.5 and we times that by 60 to get our number of minutes. So it's 2 hours. When we do that calculation, gives us 2 hours and 30 minutes. The next one here, so if we have defined the time, we've got distance divided by speed. Distance is 48. No, it's not. Distance is 60 miles divided by 48 miles per hour for the speed. So 60 divided by 48 gives us 1.25 hours. Change that into hours and minutes. So we know it has to be 1 hour. That's our whole hours for the 1 point. And then the extra decimal times by 60 gives us 15. So it's 1 hour and 15 minutes. Again, we're taking back that stuff that we did with time and decimal time. That wasn't for nothing. It is so that we can convert these answers and so we can use them within the calculations as well. Okay, so as always, your questions, are on the Teams page. So if you go there just now, have a little look at the questions to complete. Please read the post to decide which questions to complete. And then, as usual, just send in a wee picture of them, please, if you can. Thank you for listening.